I am so glad you're here today. We're going to talk about something that's so important to meeting and event planners and something that's a new idea on the cutting edge. It's something we've all experienced before, but we just didn't really know the word for it. Scope creep is a term in project management that means when your project goes outside the original scope and boundaries that you originally discussed, outside of your budget and other resources. How are you going to overcome that? What are you going to do to make your event successful? Can I ask you before we start, can everybody raise your hands? Can you raise your hands? Higher, higher, higher. Come on everybody, I know you can do higher. All right, can you give me just 1/2 more inch? How did it feel to be asked to raise your hand 1/2 more inch, even though you were at the highest you could be? Were you happy to do it? I saw many of you comply. But how do you feel when you're asked to do one more thing for a meeting or event? Do you feel overwhelmed, understaffed, under-budgeted? I bet many of you feel like I do. You feel empty. You feel like I have given this meeting and event so much of my time, energy, money, and attention. I have nothing left to give. I feel empty. I feel drained, and I feel overwhelmed. Scope creep, according to Julia Rutherford-Silvers, is when a project creeps outside the scope of its boundaries and it keeps creeping outward and outward. According to Julia, there are 6 dimensions to an event. There's anticipation, that's when you get your invitation in the mail. The arrival, when you walk up and you see what's happening. Is it engaging? Does it make you want to come? What is that atmosphere? What is the vibe in the room? What smells so good? What is your tongue dying to eat? And then what activities are there for you to do? And finally, what's your amenity? What's your keepsake? What's your token? What's that lasting impression of that event that you went to? Boundaries are the construction cones on the road to keeping the project headed in the right direction. We need to all the time be focused on what our project is. It's so easy to get sidetracked and go outside of those cones. Have you ever had an out-of-boundary experience? Has it happened to you? Does it happen daily, weekly, monthly? It happens to me all the time, just when you think things are going to come to a great end. So what you need to do is you need to come up with an inside plan and establish what your boundaries are. There are 3 ways to use scope creep to your advantage. Who's ever had an idea percolating around in their brain and you just don't know why no one else thought about it or why it hasn't been implemented, but you just know it's going to work? It is so crystal clear to you. That's your moment of truth. Present your idea. Talk to your boss or your supervisor. Tell them what your vision is and how you're going to implement it. That will bring value to your job performance. They're going to think of you in a higher fashion. You're going to be known as the problem solver. And you're going to bring a return back to the goals and objectives of the meeting or event because you are not going to go over that budget. You have solved a resource challenge and you are the queen for the day. What resources are available to you? Is there someone in another department that this might be a light time for them? Perhaps somebody in accounting, or perhaps somebody in a different division. What resources do you have and how have you utilized them? Have you ever thought about calling volunteers from your retired employees? There's also a lot of great nonprofit agencies that can give us volunteers as well. And then there is the option to outsource. And think about it. Outsourcing, you may think that's your job to do, but really when you look at your time and the investment in what your skill set is, it's true you can do it all, but why not have somebody do it for you? And that would make it so much easier for you to do as well. So this is one of my favorite things. It's called Triage a request. So what you want to do is look at the request that someone's giving you and then triage it. Make a decision. Because usually in our industry, there's 3 choices. There's cheap, quick, or right, but you can only pick 2. So triage is a process of prioritizing patients based on the severity of their condition, and this actually started back in the Civil War. So triage in meetings, what we want to do is we want to assign priority and order to projects. And then we look at our funds and resources and see which of those make the best matches. So which are the best that can be used, which ideas, which projects, which elements will enhance your meeting or event. Where are the areas that they're most needed in? Where will you see the best ROI, return on your investment? And where are you most likely to achieve success? Now, I suggest a color code system. That way, as a request comes in, you can color code it. Now, some can color code it by staff member, and some can color code it by priority. You could say red is an immediate need, orange needs to get done, yellow will get there. This dark, lighter purple here, that was a great idea, but we're gonna pass. Any system that works great for you. That way the person receiving that task or assignment, they will know the importance and priority of it, and they will know in which order to proceed with their job task as well to complete that. So today we learned about the term scope creep and 3 ways to use it to your advantage. So scope creep is uncontrolled changes, the scope creeps outward. You come up with the moment of truth, your great idea. You present your idea. It will bring our ROI back to your job performance and bring value back to you. Okay, got it. Is that good enough?